Okay, we are live. Allison.
All right, how do I sound?
You sound great.
Okay. So I'm going to start. Welcome, everybody. I'm Allison Morano. I am very happy. I recently joined the XR Women leadership team. And if you can't hear me, just let me know. But I'm going to jump into today's announcements. So before we begin, we want to let you know we are recording. So your avatar voice and text messages may be shared publicly either by XR Women or other people in the room. We also want to remind you about avatar etiquette, respect the presenter and the audience. Please mute if you are not speaking. Also, respect our speakers' opinions. They do not necessarily reflect XR Women or the leadership, but please be very respectful and mindful of our speakers. And if you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand. We also want you to use this as an opportunity to connect with others. So please collaborate, connect with them offline, network, and help make the future a better place for all through technology. We'd also like to thank our sponsors and partners. Today we are in Frame. We had someone from Frame in here earlier talking about how much she loved XR Women, and we're very thankful that they give us this space. Other times we're in Engage, and we really are very thankful to all our sponsors and partners. So thank you so much for supporting us, and a lot of them are XR Women. We have new members. They're all from the United States today. If you are here, please raise your hand and say hello to the group. I cannot see everybody, so if there's anybody, Paige, if you could let me know if anybody wants to say something, but raise your hand. Okay. Now we have XR Women merch. You can go to the URL on the screen. It's in xr-women-global.myspreadshop.com. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get. And we are going to be, I'll talk about it in a minute, XR Women's going to be at AWE, and it would be great to get some merch to represent XR Women in California in a couple of weeks. Sorry. Now we are in the Frame Museum and Gallery. So please take a look around once the meeting's over. There are over 200 events that are up in the gallery and represented. There's also a limited time Window to Wonder display that from Juliana Lowe, and she is an immersive artist. So please go in and check it all out. You can use the QR code to come back to it. You can just take a picture. And please just look at it. And there's just been so many speakers that you can just check out all of the YouTube videos that are online right now on the XR Women YouTube channel as well. I am going to turn this over now to Paige for the motivation of the week.
Thank you, Allison. This is a special part of our week created by Julie Smithson, who creates these really inspirational and aspirational weekly inspirations. And this week it is Create the Future You Crave. You are not just building technology, you're shaping the next generation's belief in what's possible. Each student you reach, every immersive experience you design, and every community you empower is a ripple of change. Let this week be about ownership of vision and the courage to lead outside the lines. Remember, the system we inherit aren't always the ones we must accept. Ooh, I like that. You're here to rewrite the playbook. That really speaks to me. Thank you. I hope that this weekly inspiration resonates with each member here. And as you go through your week, remember that your future, you are shaping the next generation's belief in what's possible. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paige and Julie. Next week on May 28th, we are proud to present Scarlett Arana for the Future of the Arts. It will be hosted in Horizon on XR Women Island. So we'll be sending more information about that event out. XR Women will also welcome everybody to come to the Chicago XR Summit exhibition, which is June 4th at the University Technology Park. If you can be there, please look for XR Women, and you can find more information on their website. Wednesday, June 4th is Dr. Irina Resu, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is AI plus Human, the creative duo that will be back in frame. As you may know, we're also have been streaming, including today. These meetings are now, presentations are also being streamed live in YouTube. So you can not only catch up with what you missed, but you can watch it live if you can't be here with us for the future. Big thing now, the 5th annual XR Women Awards is coming up. So Wednesday, June 11th, come by the XR Women booth at the AWE out in California. And you can also use a discount code if you want to come in for 10% off of tickets. And we will be having I believe it's the 3rd annual awards. I apologize if I have the wrong number. But you will be able to get the early bird pricing. It says today is the last day, but please come by. They'll be there all 3 days. There'll be volunteers from the student chapters that are working with XR Women now, from SCAD and also Ringling College. And we'll also have XR Women always at the booth. Please come by and say hello at any time during AWE. And we hope to see a lot of people there, especially from this group. As far as that, we do need all that, a lot of help in putting on the awards and putting on these events and going around to all these events around the country. If you'd like to be a sponsor, please get in touch with us at globalxrwomen.com, at gmail.com. Contact us at globalxrwomen@gmail.com. And you can please sponsor this amazing group and help us move forward. It's been so long that they've been in place and so many events, and we just want to keep going. So if you know anybody that might want to sponsor, please reach out. We welcome everybody. Wednesday, June 18th, we'll have Shemeka McNeil. She'll be doing Slice 325, a fresh approach to health, environment, and immersive learning. That will also be in Engage. You'll be getting all of this. Hopefully you all get the newsletter. These events are posted on social, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of it. So please always look for these announcements and join us every single week, 11:45 Eastern, 8:45 Pacific, and please come out all the time into the different apps that we use every single week. And now I will turn it back over for today's introduction, and I will get out of here. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Allison. It's just such a joy to be able to welcome 2 amazing creators today. Trisha Giannakis is an award-winning immersive artist, professor, and art director specializing in the intersection of XR technologies and fine art. With over 20 years of experience in digital marketing, virtual and augmented reality, and broadcast media, Trish combines physical sculptures, AI-driven art, and interactive installations to tell stories of healing, spirituality, and innovation. Her recent projects include VR television set designs created through her artist residency at BronxNet TV, augmented reality enhanced sculptures, and AI-powered data visualization experiences. Trish is currently a professor at St. Peter's University and continues to pioneer this use of extended reality tools in education, public art, and creative media. Elena Peach is an Emmy-nominated journalist turned emerging technologist. She is the account director for Zero Space, a production and technology company leading creative innovation in media and entertainment. At Zero Space, She's created immersive activations and real-time 3D storytelling experiences for brands like Nike, Chanel, HP, and more. She loves talking real-time technology and AR, VR, and experimenting with AI content creation tools. Connect with Elena on LinkedIn, and we'll share both Trish and Elena's LinkedIn in the chat. I had the wonderful experience of working with Elena a couple of years ago at the Meta Presence Platform Hackathon, where we worked as a team to create Johnny Apple Skater. So great. Please welcome these two amazing artists. What you'll learn today will blow your mind and inspire you to create in immersive AI, AR, VR for the rest of your lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Paige, for that wonderful introduction. And thank you all for having us. Elaine is here with me.
Yeah, looking forward to today's presentations, and thank you all for attending.
Yes, thank you all so much for being here. And without further ado, I will share my screen. All righty. So, what we're going to talk about today is understanding how XR and AI are reshaping storytelling, creative storytelling. As you just heard about me, you heard about my bio. What I'm going to be showing again are examples about my residency at BronxNet TV, which is put on through Creatives Rebuild New York. That was a artist residency from 2022 to 2024. Here's a shot of me with the BronxNet team. We're in the BronxNet Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx. And this is the shell before we built the immersive green screen studio. So I was also helping them build the actual space that they built. And here's a little example of one of the augmented reality logos I helped create for their introduction to the studios. It was a giveaway, NFT giveaway. So, why use AI in art and creation? A lot of you probably already know this, but for me, it was speed was the big key for me. I had a lot of work to do in a very short period of time. It expanded my creative possibilities, made things more efficient, especially with repetitive tasks, and it gave me unique outcomes, transforming my ideas. Again, ideation, creation, refinement, and output.
Pardon me, Trish. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No
We
worries.
cannot see your screen.
Oh, oh my goodness. Thank you for telling me.
Absolutely.
I will share my screen again, entire
Okay.
screen. Share. That's a little embarrassing.
No. It's totally okay.
Can
In
you see it
fact, it's
now?
not a great event unless there's a tech challenge.
Do you see my screen now?
We can
We
see it now.
do.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, here's the BronxNet team. Here's the, oops. Here's the logo I created for the NFT giveaway. And we had city officials and everyone came over to collect this NFT while we opened up the studios to the public. And I'm going to get now to AI tools. So the main tools I use are Midjourney, Adobe Firefly, Skylabs, which is great for 360 backgrounds. I love Runway. It's great for video, incorporate to create video narratives with AI. Photoshop, as you know, Adobe Creative Suite has incorporated AI into all its tools. And Move.ai is another program I used. The first example I'm going to show you is the Halloween special VR set design I did for BronxNet TV. Here's the ideation for the first prompt. We sat in several brainstorming meetings with the production team and the talent, and they really wanted something that was like ancient ruins with sacrificial altar, a mystical portal going into this space of fantasy that was dimensional, outerworldly, and then of course I incorporated the things I needed, like high resolution, Unreal Engine, 360 panorama, and 300 DPI. This is an example of some iterations with Midjourney, and I came up with hundreds of iterations. These are just some of the visuals, as well as showing you what the actual interface looks like. You know, guiding you through after you generate the 360 image, you can pan around in 360, and it gives you a really nice feeling for what you would actually see in VR. Again, here's the final approved background that we chose. And I also did a lot of different interior visualizations. We really wanted that gothic, kind of like Harry Potter, open sky, kind of, Harry Potterish. And then here's an example of the portal with a 3D rendering that we incorporated into the set, giving them the feeling of what everything would look like. And a lot of columns. They wanted this kind of like entryway before you even got into the 3D setting that we were going to be in. So I created all those iterations. And since this is the final that we kind of decided we were going to go with, and then I also had to have paintings. And I'm focusing on the Edgar Allan Poe painting because I have a funny story to show you when I show the final scene that was used. Our final immersive set was created with Blender. So even though I used AI for inspiration, we still had to build everything out in 3D. So we used Blender for that. And then the Blender assets were brought into Unreal Engine, which was 4.7, because the Ross video editing suite, they don't work with the latest version with Unreal Engine. So I kind of had to downgrade it a little bit when I was working with the final assets, but they had to be very low poly because of the speed. So here's the final set. So you can see the talent and the producer standing there. And it's really exciting how large, what the scale changes to when you have these virtual reality cameras, and you can get zoom in and zoom out into these spaces, and it's limitless, which is really exciting. This is the green screen set, and she's just standing in one spot, which is really exciting. And the camera angles do all the work. There's the Ross editing suite where we have the controllers. And then here's a quick run through. So you can see that we got the logo, we got the tombstones that I scanned with LiDAR, and then we're zooming in, and there she is, giving her intro. Rihanna Valentine was the host, and she's kind of like showing off the set because this is the first time that this capability was being introduced by BronxNet TV as well. Riz the Wiz, who was a medium from the Bronx. I love to show this. Here's the Edgar Allan Poe painting. He doesn't know it's behind him. And what was really exciting is he channeled Edgar Allan Poe during the show, and he actually turned into Edgar Allan Poe. Like, he was saying why he created scary stories, and it was just so exciting that the artwork was influencing him without even knowing. It was really incredible. Next, we'll move on to AI and 3D motion. So here's an example where I teach at St. Peter's University. This is one of my students. We're using Move. This is for single caption motion for translating your capture and video into a 3D figure that's also recording your motion, which you could also rig your whatever you create in a 3D form to that rigged animation, which is pretty exciting. So I worked with Anna Rockefeller Garcia. She's one of the original hip hop girls from the bebop days. I recorded her on black curtain, green screen, and then I transformed her into a cat avatar, and we were going to turn this into an NFT for her and her Quick to Rock team. So for inspiration, I did do some AI iterations, but I went to watch her perform in person at Bronxlandia in the Bronx, and she was incredible. The whole team, watching everybody, do break dancing and everything else. And then I love King Spray, and I used King Spray for my inspiration. And I created my first iterations in King Spray with the graffiti. And then I brought that into AI to do more versions of graffiti. So here's the final hip hop set. And wherever you see the BronxNet logo in my sets, it's designs for them, the AP production manager. They can just drop whatever logo or art they want to into the background. And then here she is dancing now as a cat. This turned out to be the NFT that they gave away. And this is Quick to Rock. And next was the sci-fi set. And you can see I'm doing a lot of work here in a very short period of time. The timing I had was September uh, to September 2023, and we finished up in May of 2024. So what's great is Skybox does a depth map, which works really well with when you're working on set designs, productions with video, with Unreal Engine or any other production software. Here's the final set for BronxNet's sci-fi immersive ship in the sky in space. And I have these holograms, and those holograms could also be swapped out for any material that they needed. So I'm really trying to create something functional, yet kind of outer space, whatever I could imagine, the oxygen that needs to be generated by plants and seeding, how would it be if people actually lived on this spaceship? So I worked with another artist with the BronxNet team, which was the Puppeteers. I worked with the Alba Garcia, Kervin Perchella, and Paula Posia, and they had created a show called Eco Leaders, and it was a puppet show about these puppets in space about saving the planet, and they needed a set design, and I promised them, I'm making your set design. So here they are on green screen. And Alba Garcia, she actually worked on the Muppets with Jim Henson. That's Alba. And you can see the green screen's really small. And this is the kids that we brought in. We had a lot of free classes we offered in the Bronx for the kids. You can see how they're all in the sci-fi set, which was pretty exciting. They ran 3 episodes of that show. And the last set I'm going to show you is Windows of the Bronx. This was for the South Bronx TV set. Here is another shot of us when we were finishing up construction, bringing in the technology, and that's what I was brought in again for, to bring in the technology and to create the experiences. You could see the subway in the background. So they called this Windows on the Bronx because they had these huge windows, but it was soundproof. So you really didn't feel like you kind of felt like you were in a space or a time capsule almost when you're inside the set. Again, iteration, exterior renders as well as interior. I was challenged with an unlimited budget by the producer. And so I really, really pushed my limits, and I pushed AI's limits as far as it could go. But I still had to go in and do some sketches on my own. This was a combination of sketching in Unreal Engine, sketching with Skylabs, sketching with Photoshop. And I even also did some hand-drawn renderings. This I comped up in a 360, and then I put it into a quick panoramas because I really did not have the time to build something in Blender and then Unreal Engine unless it was perfect. I had no time for revisions. It was like, this is it. Okay, we're running. And you can see the Skybox Labs comp there. So here's the sketch that I said finalized on. But then I thought about it. If I have an unlimited budget, this set could be in the sky, and that's what I just ended up with. Here's the view of the Bronx. Again, this is 360 rendering with Skybox Labs, and it shows the Bronx with its rivers. It has the most rivers than any city in the country. So it's just really beautiful that I was able to do this without having to pay for royalties, and I own this image, or BronxNet owns this image now, and they don't have to pay any royalties on it. And then here's the final, and this is an Unreal Engine, and you can see how it's overlooking the Bronx. And again, wherever the logo is, they could swap out for whatever they want with their video or logo or whatever they need. And this was done in such a short period of time. Even a ticker above the talent, if they're on stage, they could have that running. And I also decided, why do you have to be inside a place? So I created a couple stages that you could jump out into. So this is the ticker again with, a dancer. And then here's another version of the final with a fire pit. So you could have seating outside the stage area. There's a stage for the dancer. And then you could also be inside the set where the video is, and the view, if you don't wanna get dizzy, but you're way above, the scene of the landscape there, which is pretty incredible, and they really loved it. I was really happy with this final one. I really felt like it was my best piece, and I really pushed the limits as far as I could go. And then here's the fire pit again. And then how could you use this for yourself? Well, here's a little quick example I did. This is St. Peter's, the hallway in the art building where I teach, and I said, how would I reimagine this? Well, Barbie was really popular when I was reimagining St. Peter's hallway, and I said, I want a pink piano, I want the pink plastic couches, and I want a pool above to see mermaids if they are swimming above. But then how would I reimagine that with video? So camera dollies into the room with steady real estate videography style. And this is amazing that Runway could capture this motion so perfectly with AI. It's pretty exciting with the tools that are available today. And I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you for this, and I'm stop sharing, and now it's Elena's. Take it away, Elena.
Great. Okay. Let me share my screen.
Let's have some hearts up for Trisha.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great emoji hearts.
Okay. And so I'll continue with the presentation, and I think Trisha gave a really amazing examples talking about how she's able to use these tools as an individual artist and already what one person can do for projects, which is amazing. I think I'm going to speak a little bit to working on bigger teams and maybe more of an agency context. Also, can everyone hear me just fine?
Great, Elena.
All right, perfect. So yeah, about me, I am the account director at Zero Space, and we're a studio focused on new technologies and really looking at the future of the media and entertainment space. And we're looking at creation, distribution, consumption, and we do big experiential build-outs, interactive displays, virtual avatars, film and TV work. And we've worked with a lot of different companies, and we have a lot of different partners like HP or Unreal. And yeah, for a small team, we keep pretty busy. And this is just some pictures of our facility in Brooklyn. So we have a big virtual production stage, which is this on the left, that we work a lot with film and TV partners. Then we also have a motion capture stage. So you suit somebody up, you can take that data, put it onto an avatar. We have the same motion capture systems that the Avatar movies use. So it's a really high end system. And then we also do AI motion capture too. And then we have a volumetric capture stage. So volumetric capture, think of it as you're capturing that person as almost like a hologram in a way. So motion capture, you're getting the data. Volumetric, you're getting the actual essence of the person. And this just shows some of the interactive things that we've done. So from interactive live streams for Nike to this Halloween commercial for Reese's where we recorded all the data, to this big interactive installation we did with The Shed and Rafiq Anandal, to a virtual concert we held with Jack Daniels. So we keep busy. And I think for me, I'm looking at it in two lenses: virtual production and AI integration. And so, starting first on the virtual production pipeline, I think when you look at traditional production, what you might think is you're physically building a set, or maybe if you're doing film, TV, broadcast, you're bringing talent to another location. And the thing is it can be costly to physically fabricate a set. Also, there can be low flexibility if you want to make any changes on the set. You can't really do any type of real-time interactions unless maybe you have a small screen, like in this older CBS Sports example. And if you're filming on location, there can be cost to flying your whole crew around to different locations. Also, unpredictability around the weather. Like right now, we're actually shooting something and it's rainy, but since we're focused on the tech side, we're not impacted by the rain. And this is what we can do now is something called virtual production. And Trisha kind of alluded to it in some of the work that she was doing with BronxNet by shooting on green screen. And what we have here is a giant LED stage, so you can put any type of content on the wall. And then we also have these two walls that are on wheels and then a ceiling. And if you look at the car, you're getting believable reflections. And so it actually looks like your talent is really in that place, that location. And we work a lot with film and TV partners on this type of tech. So Netflix, HBO, Amazon. Spike Lee actually just aired a movie at Cannes Film Festival this week, and part of it features a virtual production that was shot on our stage. And so here's how you can use the stage. You can just turn it into a giant green screen, and now you're getting consistent lighting on your talent. Or you can put photo or video on the wall and do what's known as a plate. Or you can do full on virtual production. So that's 3D environments made in a game engine. And if you're doing the full virtual production, you can get a lot more interesting camera movements. But keep in mind, it could be more costly to build a scene in Unreal Engine and use a real 3D scene versus maybe just putting a video or a still on the wall. And this is an example of just some of the stuff that we've shot. So from commercials for Puma, this is HBO's The Penguin, commercial for T-Mobile, Billy Porter Mercedes piece, Disney Encanto promo. So the stage gets a lot of love. And this is just talking about the tech and how it can be used. So right here, this commercial for Meta, it looks like they're on a train. Actually, this is a train set, but this background, this is just our LED stage versus this is an environment all built in Unreal Engine, and you can see just how much more complex the environment is. This is another example. The left side, this is just a image that's behind them. It looks like they're actually at a rental car place, but they're not. Versus this car commercial, these are all scenes built in Unreal. And the interesting thing about the premise for this commercial was it was to appear as if the actor was like a little Hot Wheel style toy. And so the director would tell us how fast he wanted the course to move, and then we would change the movement right there in real time, which was great that we had that much flexibility on set. Here's that Disney Encanto promo. They just wanted it to look like they were at a concert versus filming something in Unreal, just the type of camera movements and changes that you're getting when you're working in an Unreal scene. So by shooting on LED, at least on the pre-production side, there's a lot of advantages. And so rapidly prototyping, we're actually working on a project right now. And what we did is we have a 3D model of our stage, and then we plugged in just some stock content of what the backdrop could be. And then we even put in a virtual avatar in the scene, a metahuman. And then we have our camera. And then we're going through with that productions director, and we're seeing all the previs, telling them, okay, hey, if you shoot at this type of lens, this is the output you might get. Here's how your lighting could be. What adjustments do you want to make? And so we're solving a lot of things in pre-production now. So that way, when we go to shoot day, we can have a more efficient shoot. And so we're iterating a lot. We're being able to test fast. Also, by working this way, it's easy for a lot of departments to communicate more. Instead of art just working in their art silo, director working in their own end, we're all coming and seeing the same things. And so I think it works to keep everybody on the same page and make the process more efficient. And if you were to film, like, let's say a series or something where you're consistently at the same location, then this, in theory, reduces costs than having to consistently fly your team to different locations to shoot. And then also my favorite is once we have these, if you're working in Unreal, once we have these 3D assets, then we can try to repurpose them for other experiences. So maybe export part of the world for VR or make an AR experience out of it. And then this is not something that I personally worked on, but one of our stage partners did. And this is Four Wall. They're one of our partners, and they recently helped ESPN build their brand new virtual production broadcast studio. And so sports is traditionally known to be like an innovator in the space, just because with sports, you have a really active audience that's paying attention to the screen, and also you want to find ways to engage that audience. And so ESPN now does a lot of this type of filmmaking, and they even have their own virtual environment where they're doing these really interesting camera movements where they might have the reporter start here on the basketball court, and then the camera will zoom in virtually, and now we're here inside of the ESPN house, and then they're getting ready to broadcast and do their reporting. So I think that that's really amazing, and I think on the broadcast end, we're going to see a lot more interesting developments. Now, talking about the AI side, at Zero Space, we want to focus on using AI to empower artists and not replace them. And I think for me, just speaking very transparently, because we do work with teams of 3D artists and 3D modelers, designers, some of them are a little bit hesitant to embrace the AI tooling because they're just afraid that it could take their job or that it can ruin their creative process. And I think what we're trying to focus on is just how can we use AI in a way that just lets us focus more time on the creative decision making and gives our team just more creative freedom. But I know that it's a touchy subject, so I just wanted to address that. Now, a recent project that we deployed AI with was the Macy's Flower Show. And so this is something that Macy's does every year at their flagship store in Herald Square in New York City. And they came to us and they said, we want to create some type of installation in between our two escalators in the store. What can you do? And what we proposed is, let's have a flower installation, but inside the install are 6 screens. And in there, they each show these little animated vignettes. And for us, it was a way to prototype how can we use Unreal Engine and AI to try to deliver client-ready outputs. And so what we did is we started in Unreal to get our scene layout. And then after we rendered that image in Unreal, we uploaded it to Comfy UI and other models for style transfer. We then did some in-painting, and then we got the final video model that we deployed to the client. So here's what the workflow looks like. We had our artist in Unreal take a reference image that gave us, okay, hey, this size, scale, camera positioning, this feels correct. Then we took that, and then we were able to get this depth map. And then from the depth map, we then uploaded this to different AI video generation tools to get our final video outputs. And so this is a really strong example of how we tried to use AI in more of a production-ready quality, and we still used our 3D expertise to get that refined AI image. Because otherwise, if I were to just do this on my own, I would never be able to dictate scale, position, etc. It would be a lot more at random. And this just shows a little bit more about what that workflow looked like. And then here's a final output, and here is a video of the final output. And so in total, we rendered about 10 of these little 10-second animated vignettes, and we did all of it in less than 3 weeks, which Also, if we were working with just our team of 3D artists, purely rendering it on our own, it probably would have been really expensive and really time consuming to get it all done using just Unreal. By working with AI, we were able to produce our final outputs within budget and also do it without burning out our team, which is really important. Here is another example of us using AI. We took the musician Donny Osmond. Donny Osmond's been well known since the 70s, and I'm sure a lot of you in the audience know who he is. Other people, if you know Disney's Mulan, Donny Osmond is the one who sings "I'll Make a Man Out of You." And what Donny Osmond's doing is he's getting ready to go on tour. And for part of his tour, he wants to actually be able to sing with the younger version of himself because he's been a singer since he was a young child. And so what we did is we took his nephew, or sorry, his grandson, and we used him as our reference actor. And then we kind of made a deep fake of younger Donnie, and we applied the reference actor footage of his grandson onto our deepfake to then get our final result. And here's a quick video of Donny Osmond talking about it on Good Morning America.
Oh, this morning we are
known for embracing trends, hence AI and CGI being used. Tell us how.
Well, I've had this idea for 2 years, and it's taken me that long to find the right technology, the right company. There's a company here in New York called Zero Space. They did all the conversions for me. But about halfway through the show, I'm on stage, the curtain opens up, and I'm standing next to my 14-year-old self.
It's crazy.
AI.
That's wild.
The body, that's Daxton Osmond, my grandson.
Oh.
But Zero Space took my face, they mapped it out, put my face on him. We took my voice from old interviews and original recordings, created algorithms in this computer. You could sing in the computer, sound like me at 14.
Wow.
So it's literally my face, my voice, and Daxton Osmond's body.
Did he have your
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
He does musical theater, so he has stage presence.
Wow.
And when that curtain opens up, the gasps and the ahs and the oohs from the audience are like, and to me, I mean, what would you feel like if you're looking at yourself 53 years ago and you're singing with him and talking with him? What's that?
The things I would tell that person.
Exactly. But I get to do it 5 nights a
and
week.
you get to work with your
So yeah, that was a fun project as well.
Oh, this morning.
And yeah, I think that's my quick presentation talking about some of the work that we're doing on the agency side. I really appreciate all of you for coming to listen. Let us know if anyone has any questions.
Amazing, Elena. This is great. Yes, I'm looking for hands for anyone who has any questions.
I love your presentation, Elena. And the Macy's thing, I think what you were saying, though, that would have been impossible to produce in less than 3 weeks had we.
I mean, you were talking about it too, just with client, limited budget, limited timeline. And so it's a great way to, make things happen and still feel like you're really owning a lot of the work.
And I think burnout's a big thing too. Nobody likes to work, 12-hour days.
Nope.
I grew up going to those Macy's flowers shows and knowing that there is augmented and infused technologies in it makes me more I guess this isn't a question, but it makes me, feel like it's grown with the times. Do you see, now I'm transferring this into a question, do you see where corporations and industries, if they do not lean into augmented immersive, emerging, and AI technologies, how it will harm their bottom line, especially for younger generations who are digital first?
Yeah, I think that that's a huge part in terms of embracing technology, and especially as we're looking towards younger generations of just that preference for personalization too. I think advertising is really changing because we're no longer in the days where it's just, you're a company and you pay for an ad slot to just be blasted along cable. Instead, a lot of media is super segmented, and people, might be watching different streaming services or even just different channels on YouTube. And so, what can an audience do, or what can a corporation really do to try to really tailor their messaging to the right audience? And I think that that is embracing tech. And then in terms of embracing immersive, I think that's what needs to be done to really captivate attention, because everybody is just constantly being inundated with media, be it social media, email, text, etc. And so, what can you do to build experiences that really resonate with audiences? And I think that's why you're starting to see more and more brands, I personally feel, are really investing in pop-ups that are a little bit more tactile to show like the importance of presence and being there. Like, and at those pop-ups, you're seeing small moments for AR or VR engagement. So I think the landscape is really, really changing, and the next 5 years are going to be really interesting.
I totally agree with that, especially with augmented reality pop-ups, with that personalization. If people see themselves in a reflection when they're walking by, a clothing display, trying on new clothes, it's really going to be a game changer, especially also with, maybe the next phase for movies might put yourself in the movie, or something like that. You never know.
Well, that's a really amazing insight to insert yourself into the movie and be able to interact with characters, NPCs, and really write your own story. Boy, I would probably do that in Outlander. Here's a question in our chat from Julie Smithson. Do clients plan for a one and done, or do they plan these projects with a part 2 or 3 to get the most out of their investment?
Yeah, I think for us, what we're really trying to do is see what we can do to start utilizing AI tools in a production ready presence. So that way we can show clients how we are not just researching these tools, but actively deploying. And I think it's working for us. We actually have 2 brands that approached us directly to say, we want to learn about AI. What can you tell us, or what should we do about our strategy side? And so, how we've approached these projects is we might first have a first phase that's a discovery phase where we're understanding their problem space, what solutions might be applicable to them, and then at the end of the discovery, we deliver our list of recommendations, and then maybe they have 1 or 2 projects that we'll implement with them. But the goal is not a one-off. I think a lot of companies see that this is a huge shift, and the ultimate goal is seeing what can we create that they can already start integrating into their process. And it might not be something that they're doing every day, but for example, we're working with a client right now, and they do this manual photography process every few months when they change their clothing catalog. And we're looking at ways for how we can use AI to make that manual process faster. And then on the other end, this Macy's project, we've been talking to Macy's for about a year and a half now, and this is our first time that we got a project with them. And since we had the project and then we saw the limited timeline and the limited budget, we thought that this would be a good application for AI. And so we asked their creative director and the client for approval, because there are still some companies that have completely no AI policies. And we got the approval for Macy's. And now the great thing is for us is the project was live. We actually just took it down 2 days ago. But now we have something that's a case study. And so our hope is we can publish and talk more about this work. And then that can lead to the same funnel of more big companies coming to us. So that way we can talk about AI strategy with them and what they can start doing on an implementation standpoint. But yeah, I think for implementation, it's important to look at the long-term use and not just a short-term gimmick.
Yeah,
I think
if I could add to that for the project I did for BronxNet, I was charged specifically like this needs to be long term. You to templatize the sets with those areas where I had the logo so that they could just pump in whatever they needed to keep the set, but changing the areas where the video could play or logo branding and things like that.
wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, I think it's really so smart for as I worked as a producer in the past, and having a phase two not only builds like client retention, but it also helps to create a community base who is like anticipating the flower show next year or the brand experience. These aren't just like you know they're not just like a marketing one-off. They're a deeply embedded possibility for growth. Here's another question from our audience here. We have in chat, and I'll read this. This is from Jessica Lima. You both brought some solid projections, but can you two tell us how was the beginning? When you were exploring the technology, she would love to hear this experience from both as an agency and as an artist. Thank you, Jessica.
Well, I could speak from an artist point of view. I started using AI in 2021. And I noticed that AI kind of it scrapes from the web. So I had for many years would have to do that for comps, for creating storyboards and things like that to get my stories across. And it really is such a game changer. It makes things go so much faster. But I really, when I explained how I was doing these iterations, I really had to pitch to them, I'm directing AI to do this for you. This is exactly what you're asking for, and we are able to do this quicker and faster using AI. Don't worry, the creative process is still there. I had to keep reassuring, my client, BronxNet, I considered them my client, reassuring them that the vision, we can do this and it can be done quickly. But I felt like it was a very natural for myself natural to start using the tools because I've been doing digital art for so long. I have a master's degree in computer art, so it came very natural to me.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, Trish.
Yeah, and I think on my end, my big piece of advice is to constantly pay attention to the space, and that's the hard thing because it feels like even if 2 weeks, so much can happen. And so if you have a workflow that you're using and then a company announces an update, that could completely change your workflow. And so even for this Macy's project, we were looking at what we could do to get consistent characters as we were creating those little vignettes. And about midway through the project, that's when Runway announced its consistent character generation. And had we had that when we started the project, it could have made the project a lot faster. And so on our end, I think because we are a little bit bigger now, what we're trying to do is get deeper relationships with some of these companies. So that way we're not getting an update when it's released to the general consumer, but hopefully we can maybe be an early access beta tester because the space is moving so fast. And even if you're able to access something 1 month early, that could be a big difference.
Yeah, that's so true. And plus, because the space is moving so quickly, there are companies that drop off quickly too. I was using Metaspark's AR package. I was teaching Spark AR in 2017, and in December 2024, they said they were discontinuing it. So because of the quickness of what's happening, you never know what's going to be around in the long run.
I noticed someone else has a question in our audience.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, great. Hi. What a great presentation. I was really overwhelmed. I'm Juliana, and I'm also creating like a pop-up AR situation right now. And I was kind of wondering, how do you measure success? I think you guys are doing amazing. And what metrics do you use? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do you want to take it first, Elena?
Yeah, I would just say it really depends on the campaign and what's your audience trying to do. For us, since we work more on the agency side or the film and TV, that's really just looking at traction. And so on agency type work, we're probably more focused in some type of sales and marketing capacity. And so is it something where it's very top of funnel and you're just trying to build awareness and trying to create buzz? Or is it something that is more lower funnel and you're actually trying to drive conversion and sell the project? A lot of what we do, since I think our studio Zero Space is known for being the experimenters with emerging technology, brands and clients realize that experimentation is something that can just be used to get excitement. So we do a lot of top of funnel projects. And so what we're focused on is, okay, how many viewers did we get? What was said across social media? What was the sentiment of the audience that engaged with the content? For a physical pop-up, what was our foot traffic like? Does the audience seem engaged? And so even at the Macy's experience, we had a small camera and we weren't necessarily using the camera to track our audience or anything like that. If anything, we were just using the camera to just make sure that nothing was breaking during the install, or if we had to make a fix, we could send somebody to adjust. But we would look at the camera and we would just tell that we just had so many people that were really excited to go and take pictures and look at the screens. And even my team, we went and we tried to get BTS, and we couldn't even have a moment where we could just get a shot of the space being empty. And we went at like 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. And so I would say that was a big success. But yeah, determining your KPIs, it depends on the goal for the client. But for us, we're focused a lot on the sales side. And then on the film and TV work that we do, we care about the quality of the content on the LED stage, and does the content look good? And ultimately, if our client has a good shooting experience, then we hope that means that the piece that they're creating gets great traction. And so the Spike Lee film that we worked on just got some really great buzz at Cannes Film Festival, which is great. We did HBO's The Penguin, and that got a lot of really great buzz. And then there are more films that are coming out this year that we're hoping are, also going to get positive buzz. And for us as a studio, that works really well because word of mouth matters a lot in the film and TV industry. And so I did one shoot with HBO, and that HBO shoot literally led to Netflix and Warner Brothers calling us the next day because they heard about the positive experience.
I think word of mouth is a big point there. I get the same thing with word of mouth, and my social media channels. When I post things, I'm able to track my metrics through what I get with social media and the traffic to my websites and things like that. And as well with BronxNet, they measure the metrics on their YouTube channel, and they have a website. So that's probably the easiest way. But since I teach as well, I'm giving students the opportunity to use these tools. I just taught at St. Peter's ethics in art and artificial intelligence, and I was able to show the students how to use the tools and create their own AI AR dropped experience that they turned into a proof of participation NFT, which that got a lot of traction for the students. And one student even got a job from showing them their AR NFT.
Amazing. Those are incredible impacts and results. And the insights that you shared are so valuable. We're coming up at the top of our hour, and I just want to see if anybody else has a last question for our talented and brilliant creators.
I'd love to ask one if I may.
Oh, please, Dot.
At what point point do you ensure that you own your hard work, especially if things are changing so rapidly with, for example, Runway character generator, and Trish made reference to they own their skybox. Because I've heard you can't own something created with AI, but it sounds like you can here with what you've done.
Well, you could, if you pay for the subscriptions, like in Midjourney, Skybox, if you're a paid user, you have rights to your whatever you've created with AI. But if you're not paid and it's kind of like in Discord, you know, there's a community there that can see your prompts, and it's free reign. People can take whatever they see that you create. And then also from working with clients, they own whatever we create when we're working with them. But I end up minting most of my art, AR, AI, and VR experiences as NFTs, and that serves as a protection as well for copyright. And that was a great question. Thank you, Dot.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, we thank you, Trish and Elena. We are inspired. Can't thank you enough, and invite our community to share Purple Hearts emojis and connect with you on LinkedIn to find out how they can augment their works with new technologies, and or partner up in some way that brings new partnerships to the table. We love having you here.
Yeah. And if anyone's ever in New York and wants to see Zero Space, reach out to me, and excited to see some of you at AWE. And thanks to XR Women for hosting us.
Hey.
Yes, thank you so much for hosting us. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys at AWE as well. Thank you so much again. And it's such an honor and privilege to be next to you, Elena, to present.
Yeah, this was awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. Take some screenshots or some photos, share it on social media, and let the world know what you've learned here today at XR Women.